Hey guys, what's up? I don't think that there is such a thing as an adult. And I understand that, like, obviously, there is a such thing as an adult. It's a grown up human. It's a grown up human. But you know how people say, um, like, if you hit a woman, you're not a real man or whatever. They're not talking about an actual physical man. Like, they don't mean that if you hit a woman, you're not an adult male human, because, like, obviously you are. I mean, you might be a woman watching this, but I mean, in the example, like, if you are a guy and you hit a woman, and you know what they mean is, when they say that if you hit a woman, you're not a real man, is they mean that you're not the idealized version of what their culture says like a real man, quote unquote, is. And I know that there's plenty of guys that do grow up and do their best to embody their idea of what an idealized man is. And I know that there are plenty of people that grow up and they're really good at adulting and they're really responsible and they really do embody what our society's idea of a real adult is, quote unquote. But I don't think that people are really any different than what they were when they were kids looking up to their parents thinking that they were adults. You know what I mean? There's a lot of ideas in, like, Freudian psychology and psychology as a whole, partially because he was so influential to psychology as a whole. But there's a lot of ideas that kind of circle around um, things that happen to you as a kid. Like, a lot of parents will psychologically mess up their kids completely unintentionally, not really meaning to. I mean, a lot of people do their best. A lot of parents do their best to love their kids and make them feel safe and teach them things. But at the end of the day, um, w- once everything kind of resolves and the kids grow up, it becomes kind of obvious, I think, in most cases, that it's always going to be just kids raising kids. Like, there are going to be times when you mess up as a parent, and and it could have effects on your kid that you couldn't even have foreseen, really. I don't think that I am really much different than I was when I was a kid. Like, my personality is pretty much still the same. Um, the only things that have really changed is I've gotten bigger, I've gotten more life experience, I know more stuff, I've developed more skills. But at the end of the day, um, if you put me and, like, a 5 or 10 year old version of me in the same room, we're kind of the same dude. There's this idea in psychology uh, about talking to your inner child. Like, And I kind of think that like you are the inner child. Like what really what else is there to you if you think about it? People kind of put on this like adult persona, but you can kind of see through it if you look. Like I've been watching people at work and at the grocery store and stuff, and the new guys at work are still nervous, just like it was their first day of school. And people still want to make new friends and they still want to play and joke, and they're still worried about what people think of them. They still have authority bias. Like when somebody tells them to do something, they just do it like they're a kid who just got told by an adult what to do. Adults still laugh at the wrong times and make really bad jokes and cry and shit themselves and all the things that you did when you were a kid. Like people stay up too late watching TV and eat junk food. And I mean, a lot of that is probably because we don't have an authority figure telling us, you know, stop eating junk food and eat your vegetables and get enough sleep and um, do your homework and don't slack off at school or work or whatever. I used to babysit my little nephew for like 10 or 11 hours a day, and I did that for about 2 years. From the time he was about 6 months old to about the time he was two and a half. Because it's a long story, but my car broke down and my brother had just gotten a job, and he needed a babysitter. So I was like, I'll just do it. I'll just stay home and take care of the kid. And I started noticing that I started noticing like his patterns, like he would wake up and we would eat something and he would play and stuff. And then at some point, uh, he really kind of needed a nap. But he would fight sleep just like his dad, just like me. And so I would put him in his little bed and say, go to sleep. And, I know that you don't want to, but you need to. And he would fight sleep for a while and then he would go to sleep. But if he fought sleep too hard and just stayed up, then he would always just get crankier and crankier. And I started noticing in myself that I get cranky at around evening time. I've started noticing that I get sad in the mornings sometimes and the evenings, and I don't think that that's related to the topic. It's just something interesting that I've noticed about myself lately. But I think that deep down, everybody just kind of wants someone to hug them and tell them to have a good day and care about them when they're sad and show up with medicine and soup when they're sick and tell them good night. You know, if you have a partner who you live with, have you noticed them being like childlike ever? I used to live with one of my partners back when we were dating. It was years and years ago, but it seemed like sometimes with her, actually, it was pretty common. The whole adult act kind of went away, and she would just be herself. Once she got comfortable with me and felt safe and stuff, and she had a borderline personality disorder, and maybe some of that was what's the word? There's a word for it when not regressing. Maybe some of it was like regressing back into childhood or something, but I really it didn't seem like that. It seemed like she just felt safe being herself, you know. I've been kind of watching myself lately and like paying attention to my moods and my thoughts and my feelings and just kind of all of the stuff going on in my mind. And I feel like when I'm being myself, like when I'm when I feel safe enough to be myself, and when I'm being honest and vulnerable and sincere, I feel like I'm more like what I was like when I was a kid. Not not that I felt safe as a kid or anything, but I feel like I'm closer to behaving like the person I was, I guess, before I started trying to act like an adult, in my like teenage, young adult years. If you have a partner and you've ever just taken care of them like they were a kid, let me know how that went. I'm interested to know more about how that goes. Not that I'm trying to get into your business or anything, but let me know what you think in the comments. I'm pretty sure that's all I had to say. So like and subscribe, ring the bell, share, comment. Um, Maybe make yourself a nice dinner later, and I'll talk to you guys later.